Okay, keeping with the theme of working our stash and also doing cards with minimal tools. So, you don't have to have all the fancy things just to make some cards. You just need a few things. So let me go over everything I've got here and then we'll get started. I picked out 3 inks. I've got Squeezed Lemonade, Tumble Glass, and Broken China. And I've got my VersaFine. Now, any black ink would work, or any color ink that you have. You don't have to have Distress inks. You don't have to have these 3 inks. When you see what I'm doing with them, they will work with any dye inks that you have. They will work a little better with the Distress inks because doing an ombre kind of thing is what Distress inks really work best at. But anyway, any dye inks that you have should work fairly well for the process I'm going to be doing. I do have 2 blues and a yellow for a purpose, but again, once you see what I do, you can kind of play with the color palette and do whatever you want to do for it. I've got my little homemade by stamp. I don't know, I picked this up. It's an Inkadinkado stamp, and I really like it. I thought it was pretty. So I try and remember to do that. I got a little piece of lace. I've got some just some string, a teeny little piece of this is just some stuff that I keep in my little jar when I get these little tiny pieces. So figured I'd use them up. I've got a little bit of zipper. We'll see what we do with this today. I sell this in my Etsy shop, and I use it every now and then, so pulling it out again. I've got, I just pulled out this little pack of Martha Stewart stickers out of my stash because they need to get used up, so I'm going to start using these. I pulled a red pen because it kind of gives me another color off of my palette, so whatever pen or pens you want to use. Not everybody's going to have one of these. I would imagine that one of these cheapo ones from a store would, any of the Lowe's stores, even Michael's and them carry them. And I think it would work just the same. Just maybe not just as well, but I think you could still get it done. But I have this one, and this is what I'm going to use. Now they sell these ones, and they're tapered to almost a point. I'm not sure exactly if that works better or not. So if you go to buy one like this, they do make it. I think they sell them in a set of 3. Never used them, and but this works fine. Another little piece of ephemera I have is just this thing from a tea bag. Just the string and the little piece from the tea bag. My scissors, of course. My stamp set that I'm using is my February Unity stamp. I'm part of the Kit of the Month Club. I'm not on a design team or anything. I'm trying to push myself to make cards because it's not my thing. I've got a Stamp-A-Majig because I don't own a Misty or any of those other tools. I don't have a thing against them other than their cost, their price. This works just fine. Michael's and Joann's, you should be able to pick these up. If you don't have it, then you're just going to stamp and do the best you can. You may not have this kit. You may be using something else and you won't need anything to position. But I do have this. That's my fanciest tool there. I've pulled out, keeping with my theme of working my stash, I've pulled out 4 papers. This one was one I used at some other point in my life. Let me find the pack that it is from. It's My Mind's Eye Collectible Remarkable. So that's the paper pack I pulled out of. And then I just pulled 3 coordinating pieces of cardstock and of course a white cardstock. And then I've got little sketches of what I'm going to be doing. They're really, really rough sketches, but so I've got an idea, but that's as far as it goes. Okay. Oh, and I also have something round because you know, we're not doing this with a die cutting machine or anything like that. So just something round, whatever size you're going to end up with. I've got, you know, anything round that you have sitting at your table that you can use as a, you know, or you can do a square, or you can do whatever you want to do. But this is what I've got to work with. I'm going to go ahead and get myself all organized for the first card, and I'll be back. Well, I have separated them out now so that I know what my card bases are, what pattern paper and goodies that I'm going to be doing with each. Now, it might change a little bit as I move forward, but at least I have kind of a game plan so far. So one other thing that I am going to be doing is for the face, the picture, this one here with the hair and all, I am going to be using my just my Prismacolor pencils. Any pencils, any way you want to color it. And again, you know, your own stamp sets. You just get the idea of how I'm putting things together. And so I just wanted you to see at this stage how I kind of figure out what I'm going to do. So now I'm going to pause you for a second and break this out into each individual one, and I'll be back with the first one in, well, for you it'll be just a second. Okay, so the first one is I'm doing this little world one, this globe, and then this is You Are My World. And I want it to be in this area, but I want it to be, you know, a certain way. So, and I am going to cut this out, but I just thought it would be easier to stamp it while it was still here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of tape and put it so it won't move. Let's see, I'm going to pull this down just a little bit. Okay. So then I am going to tap a little ink onto my stamp. It doesn't matter if it's all stamped up or not. And I'm going to place this into the Y or the L shape here, okay? So that's nice and smooth and it's laying down on the table. And then you're just going to run that right along the side. This runs right along the side of in the groove there. Okay, so now it's stamped it. So now I can take this and I can figure out where I want this to be. Do I want it angled? Do I want it straight? Works just like the MISTI, except for first you place it where you want it. But on these red stamps, you know, you can't really tell where you want it until you played around with it a little bit. So I think I want it right there. So then what I do is that I hold this down, my plastic sheet. I hold this down right where I want it. I'll pull it down just a little bit. Okay. And this is not moving. My card base, or card top, is not moving. I hold my plastic sheet down and I put my fancy little dandy little thing back where the plastic fits into the L. and that it runs along down the side here and is across the top, and it's nice and snug. Now I hold on to this piece and I remove this. I ink back up again, put it into the groove, and drop it down and stamp. Now this can be moved, and you can kind of give this a little finger press. Make sure you're allowing time for the ink to transfer, and then pick it up. And it's in exactly the right spot. Okay, so that's how this works. And then you just take this and you just take this piece here and wipe it off. And you're ready to stamp again next time. Okay, so that's how that works. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. I'll be back to put the card together. So I've got my piece of paper cut, but the first thing I want to do is I'm going to glue this down. Any glue you be fine. ATC, ATG, if you have it, whatever will work for you. There we go. Goodness. Okay. Want this be about even on the 3 sides. No. Come on. There we go. Now you can find your center here, and I'm just going to eyeball mine. You can either, I need a little notch out of the right up in the fold. I need a little notch. You can take a pokey tool and do it. You can take a any kind of little punch, scissors. I'm just going to take a quick little pokey tool. So anything you got is going to work here. And again, I'm just eyeballing, and I'm going to poke a hole through there that I can get my cording through. And I'm even going to use my little pokey tool to make this happen. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to bring this, instead of bringing it down around here, I'm going to poke a hole in the edge about the same distance from here to there. I want to poke a hole right about there. So again, I can get this back up on the top. There we go. If you have a needle, you can stick a needle through there. Alright, so I'm going to tie, I don't need this much. I'm going to just tie a little knot, make sure I'm still in. Kind of right in between this hole and where the edge of the paper is. Just tie a little knot there. It doesn't have to be super tight, but you do want it to kind of stay nice and straight, not be dangly. tight again and let that go. There we go. Okay. And we're just going to leave this with just a little teeny tail. It's not to be seen. Alright. So now we're going to use our tool again. And I'm pulling this up just a little bit. I want to come to the edge of the paper here and be about in between the bottom of this piece and the hole. And we're going to do another hole there, and same with this. Let's go ahead and put the string through. Come on. Try that again. First one's always so easy. I'm trying not to make the hole any bigger than I need it to be. Okay, so there's that. And I'm just going to kind of use this as a plumb line, if you will. Come across here and make it even with the edge of the paper like I did over here. And we're just going to put a little, ow, went right through on my finger. Oh, and I draw blood. I'm sorry. I don't want to get that on my card. Okay. So now we're going to put this through the hole. Oh, come on. Okay. Here we go. Let's try this. This is a threader. And this way, we'll be able to get all of this in here. I hope so. There we go. And then pull it through. There. Okay, and then we're going to tie this. Go ahead and tie this around here. Make sure I'm okay, tie a little knot. Alright, so there's that, which somewhat resembles the geometric shape. except now I'm going to make a little bow. So I'm just going to wrap this around a couple times. Get my fingers out of there. Snip the string. Hold on. Lay that down and tie a knot. There we go. And we'll tie this one that way, tie that one that way, and that can kind of go with the strings. Okay. There we go. Need to sharpen those scissors up a little bit. That out from underneath there. Okay. So there, I like that. Alright, so there's my little bow. Now I am going to use some dimensionals, which I didn't mention at first, but that should probably always be in your arsenal with cards. I know it looks like you use a lot of these, but it's really, this sheet really does go far. Now I'm going to use some of this. I'm going to cut it in half here. And use it on this so that it has support. Okay, and a few more down here at the bottom. So I'm going to get all of these off, and I'm going to stick this down, and I'll show it to you when I come back and I'll get set up for the next card. Okay, and I just wanted to remind you that anytime you fussy cut something out, take a black pen and run it all around the edge. And I'm going to put a white sheet in here because this is so dark. There's the inside. And that's the first card, and we'll go on to the second one. Alright, so I've pulled card number 2 together, and if you do have some removable adhesive, it will make the process easier, although it's not necessary, but it will make the process easier. Okay, so I did stamp and color in my lady with her butterflies in her hair. Excuse me, I just did that with pencil, Prisma, the Prismacolor pencil. Now, we're going to stamp using the broken china. These, I don't know if I'm going to do, I think I just need to do this one because there's not going to be that much showing, and I think the smaller, more condensed print on this will show up better. Okay, so, and I have a side folding card here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the card the way it's going to be. I'm going to have this little yellow border on there, and then my person in the center of that. So, and I'm going to have the little yellow border right at the edge of the card here. So I have that in place, and I'm just going to slide the yellow, and I'm going to put some, that didn't hold very well. I'll put some sticky stuff there just to give it a little hold. This is, now if you don't have the removable and you just have the regular stuff, just give it a little quick touches in a couple spots, because you're going to pull it up anyway, and it's not going to ruin any part of the car anybody's going to see. So you could totally do that. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this down here. So I'm just going to eyeball it. It's probably going to be right in that area. I'm just going to put a little bit of stuff to make it stay where I want it. Okay. All right. And see, I think for this, I also want it to be on the white. And if I don't, I will just flip it over. So I think I'm gonna also put it on my white. So let me just get this set up the way I'm gonna want it. Oop, not far enough over. Okay, put this on my block. This, I don't know if this sticky stuff's working as well as it should be. Huh. Doesn't feel like I've got any on there. Well, let's try that again. There we go. There. Now it looks like it's sticking. Okay. So now I'm going to ink this up. Now remember, Distress ink is, you can use it for stamping, but it's not really made to stamp with, because you are going to get a blotchy surface. And you also want to leave it on the paper long enough to let it really absorb the ink off of your stamp. Okay, very nice. Good and inked up. You want to make sure that you're going to pull it in far enough, because this is going to be like this. Okay, but you don't see, I made this a little too the same. The center's kind of lined up, and I didn't really want to do that, so I wasn't really paying attention when I did it that time. So, make sure that you're getting different looks for this. And let's see, I'm just going to get this little edge right here. And then I'm going to get right there. Okay, so there we go. that's all we're going to get done with that. Let me wipe my, I can't find my little pink. I'm just wiping my stamp, and I'm going to clean this area off here so I don't get this on anything else. Okay, so we are done with that. And I do have my little piece. So now I am going to, I'm just going to rub this away. It's one nice thing about the removable is it just rubs off, just balls up, and you can throw it away. Sticky tape right there so that won't move. And I'm going to get my happy birthday exactly the way I want it on there. Oops. Hey, hey, hey. Come on. Don't move. Okay, I like that. Get my happy birthday inked up again. Looks good. Pull that off. Little finger press, north, south, east, and west. Well, it's a little crooked. The story of my life. But let's see, how crooked is it? Oh, it's going to be just fine. Yeah, it's not as crooked as I thought it was. And I'm going to move that off of here. Pick this back up. Now this VersaFine is a pigment ink, so you have to make sure that you're letting it dry before you, as you can smear it. Because pigment ink dries slowly and it stays on top of your paper, and your dye ink does just what it sounds like. It dyes the paper, okay? So it soaks into the paper and is dry almost instantly. Okay, so I don't need this to be this long. I'm using this because I want to bring a bit of her brown from her hair, or blonde from her hair, kind of down into this. And all I'm going to do is wrap that around. And I'm going to get a little bit of tape. Let's get about half of that. Okay, so there's one part. And there's the other part. There we go. Okay, so now we have our ribbon stuck on there. Now we have to get that pulled off of there. So yeah, if if you ever wondered what removable adhesive was, you know, now you've seen a little bit of it in action. It's really a nice tool to have, but it again is not absolutely necessary, because you can find ways around it. Like I said, if you have some of the permanent tape, as long as it's something that is not going to get damaged, you know, or because when you pull it off, if it's something that's got a little bit of weight to it and can handle getting pulled off, just use a teeny bit and it'll work. Okay, so now we're gonna match back our lines as best we can and put this back on our piece. I'm just gonna get my glue here. Alright, just match one little section up and you should get the rest of it. It's a little hard to see when I can't get right over top of it, but I think I'll just lift this up and look at it for a second before that glue dries. Again, still be careful that that ink is not something that still can be smeared, because you certainly don't want that. Alright, and then we're going to put that down here. And again, you're going to want to line that up best you can. There we go. Now things are lining up better. Line it up best you can. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to build this section. And I'll be right back. Once we get this built, I'm going to build it up the same way. Well, some of you might have been hollering at me, but I did remember before it dried that I needed to put the yellow piece on here, so I appreciate all of you that was trying to let me know. So I've got these 3 pieces built, and now I'm going to put, get this, now I'm going to put this part down. There we go. Gonna be lining it up with the connecting pieces, making sure I have a nice little border. A minute here. A nice little border of blue, both top and bottom. Things are lined up, and that they're somewhat straight. A little bit of glue right there. There we go. Okay. Then I'm going to take, I think, some of these Martha Stewart stickers and I don't know, I think I might like the little dots. I wonder if I'd like them on just on this. Let's see. Yep. So I think I'm going to put 3 of those on, probably a little closer than that, on this. And then I'm going to go and get onto the next card. So I'll be back in a second. Oh, I think I'm gonna do something to the inside, but I'll show it to you. I think I'm gonna put some more of these, just maybe a few on the inside, just to kind of bring the inside of the card so it all looks cohesive. All right, be back with the next card. Okay, now for the next stamp, I've got my broken china I've pulled out, and this will come, you'll figure that one out in a few minutes, but right now I'm first going to do some kind of tone-on-tone stamping. I've kind of been doing this a lot. This one's really going to be, kind of have to look at it sideways to see it, I think, but it's just going to be a hint. Again, a little north, south, east, and west, but you're not pushing it so that it's, you know, really angling over the edge. You're just pushing it so that it gets all the angles of the verbiage itself.
Now, I'm thinking you can see that.
Yeah, it's kind of like a watermark almost. Get this wiped up. Okay, and I'm just having the one go through. Put that out of the way. Now I'm going to take this, and if you ever want a nice fold, if you have a scoreboard of any kind, you can take it and use the edge. Sometimes you can do the same thing on your cutting board, and get this into the corner. And let's see, where is my, there it is. And just get a nice crease on there. Okay, I have a little bit hanging off the edge, so I'm going to cut that. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to do, I want to do a decorative edge on this, and let me see a pencil here. I'm going to kind of, this is going to really make it hard. Let's see if I find a piece of pattern paper. Let's see, do I have, I just was thinking if I, let's see how wide this is. From here to here. It's just, let me just cut this. And I'm going to make myself a pattern. Find the center. Okay. Now let's cut this. You find the center, you get it the way you want it to look, cut it, fold it back on that center mark, trace, and cut. And you're not going to have a perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's going to be somewhat nice. And I don't know why. There we go. And so I'm just going to kind of pull this down a little bit. Make sure. Actually, let me do it. Whoops. Wrong. Wrong. Got it here. Line this up. Back it up. And then you just play around with it till you get it where you're comfortable with it. And give you a little, oops, little line to cut. And you probably cannot see this because I can barely see this. Let me make that part a little bit stronger right here on the end. There we go, now I can at least see where I started it from. And you make sure you're using a pencil that you can erase. Whatever it is that you don't cut off. Okay. Yeah. Let me well, that wasn't very good cutting or perusing job, but I'm going to fix it up. There we go. I don't know what I got on there. I think that maybe already had been on there. Okay, so I've got this folded. And I only need this to be, I can totally cut that off. Well, I need some of it to be stuck back on there. Sorry, coming back to you. Okay, and I am going to use my scoreboard, but if you don't have a scoreboard, all you have to do is ruler and a pencil or anything and to give yourself a score on there. So I'm going to score myself about 3/8 of an inch. There we go. So there's that out of the way. And then just fold. And now before we seal all of this up, I'm going to glue this onto the edge, inside edge. Gracious. Come up a little bit. Well, whatever sticks out I can cut off. This wild paper under here, I don't want any of that showing because it is really wild. I don't mind them seeing it from an open position, but I don't want them seeing it from the closed position. Okay. And then I have this, and I'm cutting the two pieces apart because it's lace and it's the way it is does not mean you have to use it the way it is. And I'm going to glue this into the inside of the pocket, and I only need it to here. Cut that off. get some glue. Now, Fabri-Tac works best, to me, whenever you have any kind of fabric you want to glue down. Fabri-Tac. Here it is. Beacon Fabri-Tac. It's wonderful stuff. But since we're working with just minimal, I'm going to get this down, and then I'm going to put some more glue. I'm going to pull that out just a little bit because I do want a good bit of that to show. There we go. Pull it up just a little bit. Good. And put some more glue on this side. And I'm going to glue that down. And look how pretty. Okay, whoops. I forgot. I got to do this side. And I'm thinking that for sake of speed, I'm going to put a little Fabri-Tac on here because I need to continue to move forward with this. I'll have to cut off the rust. Get this to look about the same. Come on. Okay, so I'm going to squirt a little Fabri-Tac on here so that I can keep moving forward on this. Is that going to look even? Yes, let me pull this up just a smidge. Yeah, I mean, the regular glue will work. It's just, it's going to be a lot slower. And the Fabri-Tac, pretty much, once it snags, you're good to go. And here we go. I'm going to put all right here. And that's going to actually get both sides of that paper once I close this up. Let's give that a little burnish down so that it'll fit, get through that lace and get on both sides of that paper, and it's really gonna snag it. Oops. Okay, let's cut this. And let's give ourselves another little score mark. I'm just moving this right because it's, so I'm just giving a score mark there. And there we go. Now it's closing nicely. There we go. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to put a little bit of Fabri-Tac. Should have left it laying on its side so it would grab. And I should have done this before I closed it, because I want this to be in there, but I don't want it to let's see. Let me see if I can just kind of push this down. Let's see. Let's cut some of this off and do it that way. I don't want to glue this closed. Here we go. I'm going to pull this open just a little bit. Glue, put a little more glue down here. Get this stuck in there and then close it back. And this way it looks like it's coming out. And I can actually fit, once this is glued down, I can actually fit a little tea bag in there. Isn't it cute? Okay. Now I am going to a little bit more stamping. Okay. That closed up. Ah, my silly fingers. Okay. So I want this to go. There. Oh, how cute. Okay. So there's that. And then it's gonna go right here above my glasses. Well, no, I kinda like it right there. So let me just glue this down. Come on, glue. So you guys got to make sure that you're keeping your fingers clean when you're working with I'm so used to being a messy working with my journals, and it really doesn't matter if there's a little smudge somewhere versus the whole card thing. So there's a reminder for you. See, now I should have put these down a little lower because I kind of like this here, but that's okay. Oops, where's my... There we go. People get the idea. There we go. Remember, this is... If you're using a dye ink, then you won't have to worry about this, but I'm using the more messy ink. And for right now, I'm just going to leave that. After I put a tea bag in there, I can put a little glue dot down to hold it down. And I already put a white piece of paper in there, which I'm trying not to touch. Okay, so I am going to get set for the final card, and I'll be back in a second.